we'll start off news-wise. I'm going to skip to the movie stuff first, and then we'll get to the comics. So two things really here that I thought were worth mentioning. So a couple things about Aquaman 2, right? Not that we're that excited or care about it, but they're both interesting from an analysis point of view.
Until this news came out this week, I forgot it existed as a movie.
That is a very valid point to bring up. So number one is that it might get delayed, not because of anything to do with that, but it's just a case of the studios maybe delaying things that they've got planned for later in the year to spread them out if the strike is going to delay a bunch of productions for later. So they're going to try
the
and...
highest profile one was Dune.
Yeah, so they're going to try and maybe, possibly, they're not officially done it yet, but they might spread out what they've got available to actually release further out.
Tells me they're expecting this to go on a while.
It does tell me that. But the other thing here that I thought was more interesting to talk about, and this just shows you how messy the DC movies have been behind the scenes and like all the changes that have been happening. So there's been talk in the past, and we kind of knew this to an extent, that there was scenes of both Ben Affleck's Batman in Aquaman 2, but also cameos from Michael Keaton's Batman. And the way this worked out is that originally this was coming out after, and it still is obviously, this was coming out after The Flash reset the timeline, and technically Michael Keaton's Batman was supposed to be the Batman remaining for the universe, right? And that was also going to be in Batgirl, right? Which obviously never came out. So they had cameos in Aquaman 2 from Michael Keaton playing Batman. And then things got delayed and shuffled around, and all of a sudden, at one point, Aquaman 2 was scheduled for before The Flash. So they took out all the Michael Keaton scenes and filmed scenes with Ben Affleck's Batman in their stead. And they've taken all those out now, because obviously we're post-Flash again. Now, they've not put the Michael Keaton scenes back in, because now the thinking is that there's no point in like doing cameos and connections that seem like they're building up to something when it's dead, Jim. We're starting again with Superman Legacy.
The fact that they can just remove the scenes and it have no impact whatsoever tells me a lot about the importance and relevance of these scenes to the overall movie.
There was new reshoots that maybe were patching up things that maybe it did affect, but yeah, it's possible that they just took them out and it didn't really matter that much. But I just thought that was interesting from a messy standpoint.
Someone not a fan of that, less Batfleck, the better. So,
some things where I don't think he's a bad actor or a bad Batman. In terms of his acting.
Yeah, I don't like that version of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing here, and this I feel kind of bad for it. Like with Flash, I was like rooting for its failure almost, basically because of it. Because everything around it, like there was a lot of reasons to be rooting against it. So it feels like just desserts that it's going to be like the biggest bomb Warner Bros. Has had in a long time, if not maybe ever. But sadly, this is sort of like leaning into Blue Beetle, which is currently tracking for, and I did a double take when I saw this. It's tracking between 12 and 17 million for its opening weekend, which is
horrific.
That's not a blockbuster. That's like, that would be good for like your $5 million costing horror movie that you're putting out. You'd be like, oh yeah, nice little 17 million weekend. That's quite good. For a superhero movie that cost, I mean, this wasn't as expensive as some of these other ones, but I still think this cost upwards of 100 million. So yeah, this is pretty bad for Jaime.
A budget for it?
I don't know if we do. I want to say I saw that it cost like
Google is there's a reported budget of 120.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. Yeah. So
it's a shame because that's the most hopeful I've been after trailers. Has been for those Blue Beetle trailers because it looks fun. It looks like a matinee on a Saturday, type movie. So it's just that weird thing where they're trying to launch a character that most people won't know, which you can do when you've built up trust. But if the one thing that the DC movies have done over the last decade at this point is that they have eroded trust with the general audience as far as quality and confidence goes. Oh, we're building up to something, we've got a plan. No, you don't. The plans change like every other movie, basically. Yeah, that's what my brother pointed out when we got the trailer last night. He's like, well, wait, So is this going to matter in the long run with James Gunn? I was like, probably not.
I mean, James Gunn's been saying that it will, and he's technically going to be in the new universe, but I've got a funny feeling that when the movie bombs, that'll quickly just disappear, and you might not ever see him again.
Yeah. Anyways, Comic-Con.
So yes, we do have Comic-Con to get into actual comic book news, of which there's a few things here. I'll just start off.
It's kind of weird, though, isn't it? Because of everything going on, San Diego Comic-Con actually has comics news.
Those have been some of my favorite responses on Twitter from comic book professionals, where people are going, "Oh, Comic-Con's not worth going to because none of the movies and none of the studios are there," and they're like, "Oh, so it's about comics again?"
Well, that's actually funny. Is that obviously that is the thing is that you really kind of have to care about the comics for the most part. I mean, there are still some movies and TV shows there that just have say the directors and producers there as opposed to the cast, but. One of the knock-on effects, though, that's maybe a slight negative, is that because there's no big piles in Hall H that everyone's queuing for, the actual floor's busier, so everyone's more packed in. So there's a slight negative to it, but you take the ups and the downs. Before we get into the news, I will just mention the Eisner Awards obviously happened, as they do every year. And Nightwing won Best Continuing Series, and then also Redondo won Best Cover Artist for Nightwing. And
he wouldn't wake up, I guess, in Spain. The time difference, he was still asleep, and Taylor's trying to get him on the phone. I heard that made for some laughs.
Yeah. Also, sticking out again, something else we've praised is Human Target won Best Miniseries, and I believe
was Smallwood for.
I think it was Smallwood for pencils. Yeah.
Yep.
So, so some big DC books that we praise heavily on the show.
Tynan won one for something, but I'm not sure what.
Well, he won. I think he just won Best Writer for his body of work, which included.
That's cool.
Including Nice House on the Lake, but it included a couple of Image books. It included everything he's been doing.
I didn't realize it was cumulative. I just saw he had won Best Writer, which is cool. These are all names of people that we enjoy, so it's nice when the people that you like end up winning big awards.
Yeah, and then top of that, One Bad Day Riddler won Best One Shot.
Okay.
So
nice.
That's cool too. So it is nice that a bunch of things we praise on the show.
It definitely justifies our taste sometimes, right?
I'm looking at some of the other things as well. Like, I don't think there's anything there that sticks out as I'm not sure I agree with that choice. Some years you look at them, and you'd be like, really that?
Yeah.
I think he's pretty on point this year.
I know Daniel Warren Johnston won for Do a Powerbomb. It was in a best. It wasn't like a best mini, but it was like something along those lines.
The only one that I maybe disagree with is Zoe Thorogood not winning Best Writer Artist for It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth, because that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention those because there was a few notable DC victories in there.
I'm really happy for Nightwing. To take that book from where it was to winning Eisner's
that's great.
Is really a feat.
Which actually does somewhat lead us on to the first bit of news here. Spinning out not from Nightwing but from Titans, there's going to be like a little event happening starting in November that will run through January. We're going to get a book called Titans. How was the
Beast Wars? I want to say
Beast World. It is
Beast World.
Titans Beast World, and it's basically this invading force. It's kind of like a Starro, but it's more beast focused. And apparently, Beast Boy himself will be the key to possibly fighting it. This is going to be Tom Taylor writing this, and they had Ivan Reis is on the art. So that's the team for that. So this is on top of the regular Titans book. So we're going to have another little.
I assume they'll be tying into it as well.
I imagine
Nightwing and Titans, respectively.
Yeah, and not only that, issue 4 of Tales of the Titans, which just started, is going to also set up a little bit with Beast Boy in that issue. That's going to factor in.
The Beast Boy issue of that series, then. So now it's obviously each issue of that is a different member. Yeah. But there is only 4 issues, so that's the last one.
So they're using that to sort of maybe establish some Beast Boy stuff that might be relevant in the story as well. So this is cool. I mean, I appreciate that it is just it's basically just a story that involves the Titans and focuses on Beast Boy that is going to live in conjunction with the Titans book, as opposed to Night Terrors where every book's stopping and we're getting all these tie-ins. So yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic enough for this. I have no reason to feel anything negative about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's more Tom Taylor. It's he's been building both these books already. I'm sure it'll make sense by the time we get there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's it's only running till January, so it's 3 months. I don't know if they actually say in here if it's only 3 issues or if they're doing like a 2 issues per month thing. But I will say some of the pages of art that they've got here, down at the bottom of the article on Comics Beat, they look quite good. So cool.
Yeah. It'll look like a DC thing if it's Reese on art. So
I'm sure we'll find out more in the solicits next week as to how many issues it is.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they'll probably be more specific than that. So there you go. Or maybe it'll be one of these things where there's an alpha and omega and 3 issues in between. So they'll.
I hope not.
They'll kind of double up on the first month.
Just name it 1 to 5 and get it under.
I know. You know, I agree with that. I can't be arsed with all this bullshit naming either. Next thing that popped up from Comic-Con is a new Outsiders book. But it's a little bit different. So this is a 12-issue Outsiders book, and it's coming from Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by Robert Carey, I should say. And this is actually just a duo. This is just Batwoman and Luke Fox, who are teaming up to be archaeologists looking into DC's history. And that's the 12-issue book. So it's very different from traditional Outsiders.
Yeah, you had me at Outsiders, and then you said, Lansing and Kelly. I'm like, okay.
I think they've also said there's going to be a drummer from Planetary. It's going to be a character in it as well. I don't know if she's going to be part of the main team or if it's just like...
Connor, you say drummer, all I hear is Expanse.
I know, I do the same as well.
Yeah. But I was going to say, and then you hear Batwoman and Luke Fox. I was like, okay, archaeologists of DC. All right. Let's go back up. But
they will look at what fell through the cracks of continuity.
I mean, Batwoman's definitely an outsider. Like, just not as like a team member, but as a broad use of the word in the DCU. She's never felt like she's just one of the Batgirls. She has always felt like she is an outsider who's kind of like on the fringe.
But I feel in DC that's a loaded, term. It'd be like calling a team Titans, but not have anything to do with, what we associate the Titans with. So
it's a more literal use of the word as opposed to the traditional use of the title.
Yeah. To be fair, though, it's not like they're calling it Batman and the Outsiders. One, because it wouldn't fit, but...
Look, am I going to read it? Am I going to have issue 1? Absolutely. So, I'm here for this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Another book that was announced, did not see this one coming. This is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Which is
a mouthful.
Which is great news because it means we can all watch King Kong lose again. So that's delightful.
We're just gonna watch Matt get angrier and angrier at every issue.
Godzilla's going to bitch slap him, then Superman's going to bitch slap him, and he's just going to keep going down.
Excuse me, Superman has a history with large ape creatures, and he takes care of them. So I think Superman and Kong will be friends. Thank you.
You're hoping your sad little man's fan fiction.
Look, how often has King Kong been the villain? Not much. How often has Godzilla been the villain?
When was the last time you watched King Kong 1933, Matt?
It's been a while.
There's a moment in that movie, it shocked me the last time I watched it, where he's in New York and he's like climbing up the buildings and he's looking for the main lady, right? Because he wants to find her. And he goes past an apartment, he pulls out a woman, looks at her, realizes that it's not her, and just throws her over his shoulder and keeps climbing.
That's great.
That's Matt's Kong.
It's really funny. But it's evil. It's not a heroic move.
Is it evil? Is it evil or is it careless? I would argue it's careless. It's reckless. There's no malicious will there.
Yes. Anywho.
Look, it's Brian Buccellato, who I'm a big fan
that's
of.
what I was going to say. Brian Buccellato writing with Christian Duce and Luis Guerrero on the art.
Yeah.
So, there you go. You know what is it? Look, I like Godzilla. I like the Justice League. I'm going to be there for that.
It sounds fun.
Yeah. So, it's fine. So that's the thing that's happening. Probably more about that in the solicits as well, I imagine. And that was everything I had. I don't know if there was any other little things that snuck out.
There's two more things that are they've leaked from the DC Connect issue that were all presumably to be announced this weekend. Just some of them haven't had the official announcement yet.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning we're recording this on Saturday. There's still more panels today and there's panels tomorrow, so it's entirely possible there'll be a few things that happen that have not leaked that we'll find out about and talk about next week.
So we've got Amazon's Attack, which I believe is a mini series. I could be wrong though.
It sounds like one.
Wait for more details on that. It's by Josie Campbell and Vasco Georgiev on art, and it features a team up of Nubia. Who else we got here? We got Nubia, Wonder Girl. That's I'm blanking on her name.
Cassie?
No.
Donna?
The other one.
No, the other one.
What's her name?
Yara.
The Brazilian one.
Yara. Yeah. Yara and Mary Marvel's in there as well.
Hey, let's go.
And obviously, Josie Campbell just wrote that Mary Marvel mini.
Okay.
So...
No, I mean, I was already on board because she was writing it, but the fact that Mary Marvel's also on the team has made me even more interested. So go on.
There's one more thing that I think you will both be, you'll be excited about and frustrated because it's just a special, not an ongoing or a mini. But this is a Supergirl special by Mariko Tamaki.
Hey, let's go.
Come on. Okay, right.
Yeah, and Skylar Partridge on art.
Yeah, lead into an ongoing. Come on, this is it's time.
I'm hoping this is along with like what's happened with the Power Girl book, where that's getting a book coming out of it.
Yeah,
I'm hoping this is the same thing.
Yeah, it's more Tamaki's. Yeah, Tamaki's been a while because obviously she had her detective run, did a couple of little things, but she's not had a book since then. She had one of the One Bad Day spin-offs, I think, but that's about it. So. Yes, please.
Yep.
Yeah. There was just some other little bit there. Dan Jurgens talking about there's a Return of Superman anniversary, 30th thing.
No kidding.
Yeah.
They just did the death anniversary. We don't have to do the return anniversary as well.
Yeah, return anniversary.
Yeah,
it'll focus on the 4 Reign of Superman replacements.
I can just see them doing this stuff to placate Dan Jurgens. Like, all right, Grandpa.
Actually, no, there was one more bit of news. We kind of mentioned it earlier, but just in the news section, I should mention Ram V signed an official, exclusive DC contract, so he can't work at Marvel. Happy for us because his work's been great. So
he said it allows him to do his creator-owned stuff because he said that's like breathing to him. Yeah, so he'll still be pumped. Which I'm pleased to tell you guys. The last
5 or 6 years is that hey, you can't work for Marvel, but we'll let you do creator-owned. Even at one of the bigger companies like.
Yeah,
it tells me that DC know what they've got with him, and they're like, okay, he killed it on Swamp Thing. He's doing a great job in Detective. We want him to keep, doing more stuff. And apparently, he's planning the next 2 years of his DC work right now. He was saying that on Twitter. So
that's
by all means,
very exciting. So you can tell he has an affection for the characters. It comes through as he's writing. But yeah, Ram V, one of our guys. It's great that he's exclusive at DC.
Yep. Look forward to more book announcements with the big V on the name. Ram V for Vendetta, they call him.